The incident, the vast expanse of space, stretched out before Captain Ilara Chen as she stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, humanity's most advanced exploration vessel. The ship's sleek design and state-of-the-art technology represented the pinnacle of human achievement, a testament to their rapid advancement since first venturing beyond their solar system just 50 years ago. Ilara's dark eyes scanned the holographic displays surrounding her, each one offering a wealth of information about the uncharted sector they were traversing. It was humanity's first push into this region of space, and the excitement among the crew was palpable. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Aiden Foster from his station, his voice tinged with curiosity. "I'm picking up some unusual energy readings from the third planet in the system ahead." Ilara strode over to Aiden's console, her brow furrowing as she examined the data. The readings were unlike anything they had encountered before, a swirling vortex of energy that seemed to defy the laws of physics as they understood them. "Interesting," she mused, her scientific curiosity piqued. "Helm, take us in for a closer look, but approach with caution. We don't know what we're dealing with here." As the horizon glided closer to the mysterious planet, the crew's excitement grew. This could be the discovery of the century, perhaps even the key to unlocking new forms of energy that could revolutionize human civilization. But as they entered the planet's orbit, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. The energy vortex they had detected earlier suddenly expanded, engulfing the horizon in a blinding flash of light. When the light faded, Ilara and her crew found themselves face to face with a sight that took their breath away. A massive alien fleet materialized before them, their ships unlike anything humans had ever encountered. The vessels were organic in nature, pulsing with an otherworldly energy that seemed to mirror the vortex they had just passed through. Before Ilara could even think to hail the alien fleet, a beam of energy lanced out from the lead ship, striking the horizon's hull. The impact rocked the human vessel, sending crew members sprawling across the bridge. "Shields up," Ilara shouted, her training kicking in despite the shock of the situation. "Defensive positions." As the horizon's shields flickered to life, Ilara's mind raced. This was humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization, and it was rapidly descending into conflict. She had to find a way to communicate, to de-escalate the situation before it spiraled out of control. "Open a channel," she ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos erupting around her. "All frequencies, all languages we know. We need to make them understand we mean no harm." But the alien fleet seemed uninterested in communication. More energy beams lanced out, battering the horizon's shields. Ilara could see the fear in her crew's eyes, but also the determination. They were explorers, scientists, but they were also the representatives of humanity, and they would not go down without a fight. "Return fire," Ilara commanded, her heart heavy, but her resolve firm. "Target their weapons systems only. We're not here to start a war, but we will defend ourselves." The horizon's advanced weaponry came to life, firing precise bursts of energy at the alien fleet. To the crew's surprise, their weapons seemed to be more effective than they had anticipated. Several alien ships reeled from the impacts, their organic hulls pulsing with what appeared to be pain. As the battle raged on, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The aliens' attack seemed almost reflexive, as if they were reacting to a perceived threat rather than launching a premeditated assault. "Analyze their attack patterns," she ordered the ship's eye. "There's something off about this entire situation." As the AI processed the data, the battle intensified. The horizon's shields were beginning to falter under the relentless assault, and Ilara knew they couldn't hold out much longer. Just as she was about to order a retreat, the ship's AI chimed in with its analysis. "Captain," the AI's calm voice cut through the chaos of the bridge. "The alien fleet's attack patterns suggest a defensive posture. It appears they may have perceived our approach as a threat." The realization hit Ilara like a punch to the gut. In their excitement to explore the energy vortex, They had unknowingly triggered some kind of defensive mechanism. The aliens weren't aggressors. They were protecting themselves from what they saw as an invasion. "Cease fire," Ilara shouted, her mind racing to find a solution. "All power to shields and life support. We need to show them we're not a threat." As the Horizon's weapons fell silent, Ilara made a bold decision. Against the protests of her crew, she ordered the shields to be lowered. "Captain, that's suicide," Aiden exclaimed, his face pale with fear. "It's the only way," Ilara replied, her voice firm. "We need to show them we're not here to fight. Sometimes, the bravest thing a soldier can do is to lay down their weapons." As the Horizon's shields flickered and died, the alien fleet's attack suddenly ceased. An eerie silence fell over the battlefield, broken only by the tense breathing of the Horizon's crew. For what felt like an eternity, nothing happened. Then, a soft, melodic hum filled the bridge, a sound that seemed to resonate not just in their ears, but in their very minds. "They're trying to communicate," whispered Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's xenolinguist, her eyes wide with wonder. As the hum continued, images began to form in the minds of the Horizon's crew. They saw flashes of a civilization vastly different from their own, a society that had evolved to harness the very energy of thought and emotion. The vortex they had detected wasn't a weapon or an energy source. It was a part of the aliens themselves, a manifestation of their collective consciousness. The misunderstanding became clear. To these beings, the Horizon's approach and scanning had felt like a psychic assault. They had reacted to protect their very essence from what they perceived as an invasive force. As the realization sank in, a wave of remorse washed over Ilara and her crew. Their actions, born of curiosity and excitement, had nearly sparked an interstellar war. The weight of that responsibility was staggering. But even as they grappled with the enormity of their mistake, a new feeling began to emerge. Hope. The aliens were still here, still attempting to communicate. There was a chance to make this right, to turn this near catastrophe into a moment of true first contact. Ilara stepped forward, her posture open and non-threatening. She focused her thoughts on peace, on understanding, on the shared desire for knowledge that had brought humanity to the stars. The hum changed, becoming warmer, almost welcoming. More images flowed into their minds. Curiosity about these strange beings who could admit their mistakes, who would lay down their weapons in the face of overwhelming odds. As the first part of this unexpected encounter drew to a close, Ilara Chen and her crew stood at a crossroads. They had stumbled into a situation beyond their wildest imaginations, nearly sparked a war, and now found themselves on the brink of a profound discovery about the nature of life in the universe. The incident that would change humanity's place in the galaxy had begun, and as the Horizon hung in space, surrounded by the alien fleet, the true challenge was just beginning. How would humanity navigate this new reality? What consequences would their actions have for Earth and its people? The answers to these questions would shape the future of not just humanity, but of all sentient life in the galaxy. And as Captain Ilara Chen prepared to take the next step in this cosmic dance, she knew that the decisions made here, in this uncharted region of space, would echo through the annals of history for generations to come. The unconventional strategy. In the days following the initial encounter, the UES Horizon found itself in an unprecedented situation. The ship and its crew were effectively quarantined in orbit around the alien world, surrounded by the watchful organic vessels of their hosts. Or were they captors? Captain Ilara Chen paced the bridge, her mind racing with the implications of their situation. Earth had no idea what was happening here, and there was no way to contact them without potentially escalating the delicate situation. "Dr. Tanaka, any progress on communication?" Ilara asked, turning to the xenolinguist who had been working tirelessly since the incident. Yuki Tanaka looked up from her console, dark circles under her eyes betraying her exhaustion. "It's complex, Captain. Their method of communication is unlike anything we've encountered. It's not just language. It's a full sensory experience. We're making progress, But it's slow. Ilara nodded, understanding the enormity of the task. Keep at it. It's our best hope for resolving this peacefully. As she turned away, Lieutenant Foster's voice cut through the tense atmosphere. Captain, we're detecting a massive energy buildup from the planet's surface. Before anyone could react, a blinding light engulfed the horizon. When it faded, Ilara found herself standing in what appeared to be a vast, shimmering chamber. Around her stood members of her senior staff, looking as disoriented as she felt. Before them hovered three alien beings, their forms shifting and pulsing with the same energy they had observed in the ships. Their bodies were vaguely humanoid, but composed of swirling light and color that seemed to defy physical laws. A gentle hum filled the air, and suddenly, Ilara understood. The aliens had brought them here to communicate directly, bypassing the need for traditional language. Images and sensations flooded her mind. Curiosity, apprehension, and a deep, abiding concern for the safety of their world and species. The aliens, who called themselves the Luxon, had existed in isolation for millennia, their powerful psychic abilities both a blessing and a curse. The arrival of the Horizon had shattered their solitude and exposed them to a galaxy they had long hidden from. As the exchange continued, Ilara and her crew shared humanity's own story. Their rapid technological advancement, their drive to explore, and their hope to find other intelligent life in the universe. They conveyed their regret for the misunderstanding and their desire for peaceful coexistence. The Luxon absorbed this information with a mix of fascination and alarm. The concept of a species advancing so quickly, driven by individual desires rather than collective consensus, was both intriguing and terrifying to them. As the session drew to a close, the Luxon communicated their decision. The Horizon and its crew would be allowed to leave, but with a warning. Humanity was not to return to this sector of space until they had proven themselves worthy of the responsibility that came with their rapidly advancing technology. In a flash, Ilara and her crew found themselves back on the Horizon. As they struggled to process what had just occurred, a new crisis emerged. Captain. Lieutenant Foster's voice was tight with alarm. Long-range sensors are detecting a massive fleet approaching our position. It's the Galactic Confederation. Ilara's blood ran cold. The Galactic Confederation, a loose alliance of spacefaring races that humanity had only heard whispers of. If they were here, it could only mean one thing. The incident with the Luxon had drawn their attention, and not in a good way. As the Confederation fleet drew closer, it became clear that they had no intention of opening a dialogue. Energy weapons began to charge, targeting both the Horizon and the Luxon ships. In that moment, Ilara made a decision that would change the course of human history. All hands, battle stations, she commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. But not for us. We're going to defend the Luxon. Her crew looked at her in shock, but the determination in her eyes quelled any objections. They had inadvertently drawn the Luxon into this conflict. They couldn't abandon them now. As the Confederation fleet opened fire, the Horizon sprang into action. Its advanced human technology, combined with the knowledge they had gained from their brief communion with the Luxon, allowed them to create a unique defense. Dr. Tanaka, working with the ship's engineers, quickly devised a way to modulate their shields to resonate with the Luxon's psychic energy. The result was a hybrid defense system that could withstand the Confederation's assault far more effectively than either race could have managed alone. But defense alone wouldn't be enough. They needed a way to end this conflict quickly, before it escalated into a full-scale war that could devastate this sector of space. That's when Ilara had an idea, an unconventional strategy that just might work. Lieutenant Foster, I need you to work with the Luxon. We're going to try something that's never been done before. Over the next few hours, as the battle raged around them, the crew of the Horizon worked feverishly alongside their new Luxon allies. They were attempting to combine human ingenuity with Luxon's psychic prowess to create a weapon, not of destruction, but of communication. The plan was audacious, perhaps even insane. They aimed to create a massive psychic pulse that would allow them to communicate with the entire Confederation fleet simultaneously, making them understand the truth of the situation and the needlessness of this conflict. As the final preparations were made, Ilara addressed her crew. "What we're about to do has never been attempted before. It's dangerous, and there's no guarantee of success. But if we don't try, this sector will be torn apart by a war that never needed to happen. We have a chance to make a difference, to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. Not through force of arms, but through understanding and cooperation." The crew nodded, their faces set with determination. They had come to space to explore, to learn, to grow. Now they had a chance to do all of that and more, to be the bridge between two vastly different civilizations, and potentially usher in a new era of galactic cooperation. As the Confederation fleet closed in for what they thought would be the final assault, Ilara gave the order: "Initiate the pulse." A wave of energy unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen burst forth from the horizon, and the Luxin ships. It washed over the Confederation fleet, and for a moment, everything went still. In that moment of profound connection, understanding bloomed. The Confederation ships powered down their weapons, the threat of war replaced by the possibility of diplomacy. As the pulse faded, Ilara and her crew stood in awe of what they had accomplished. They had taken a situation that by all rights should have ended in tragedy and turned it into a triumph of cooperation and mutual understanding. But even as they celebrated this victory, Ilara couldn't shake a feeling of unease. They had revealed the full extent of human ingenuity and adaptability to the galaxy at large, and while it had saved them today, she couldn't help but wonder, how would this change humanity's place in the cosmic order? As the horizon prepared to make contact with the now peaceful Confederation fleet, Ilara knew that the repercussions of their actions would be felt for generations to come. Humanity had announced its presence on the galactic stage in a way that no one could ignore. For better or worse, everything was about to change. The turning point. The weeks following the Horizon's unprecedented intervention in the Luxin sector were a whirlwind of diplomatic activity. Captain Ilara Chen and her crew found themselves at the center of intense negotiations between Earth, the Luxin, and the Galactic Confederation. The UES Horizon had become a symbol of humanity's potential, both its capacity for misunderstanding and its ability to bridge seemingly insurmountable gaps. As news of their actions spread across the galaxy, reactions were mixed. Some hailed humans as peacekeepers, while others viewed them with suspicion and fear. Ilara stood before the Galactic Council, a gathering of representatives from the most powerful species in the known universe. The chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, with sweeping arches that seemed to defy gravity and walls that shimmered with colors beyond human perception. Captain Chen, the Arcturian delegate's translucent tentacles waved as it spoke, its voice resonating through the chamber. "Your species has demonstrated remarkable adaptability and ingenuity. However, these very traits concern us. The speed at which humans advance and their unpredictability make many in the Confederation uneasy." Ilara took a deep breath, knowing her words here could shape the future of human-alien relations. "Respected delegates, I understand your concerns. Humanity is young compared to many of your civilizations. We make mistakes, as we did with the Luxin. But it is through these mistakes that we learn and grow." She paused, looking around the chamber. "Our adaptability, our drive to explore and understand. These are not threats, but opportunities. We offer a fresh perspective, a new way of approaching problems that have plagued the galaxy for millennia." As the debate raged on, tensions in the galaxy were reaching a boiling point. Reports flooded in of skirmishes breaking out in various sectors. Some species, emboldened by humanity's actions, were challenging the established order. Others, fearful of change, were becoming increasingly aggressive. Back on the horizon, Lieutenant Foster burst onto the bridge, his face pale. "Captain, we're receiving distress calls from multiple sectors. It's chaos out there." Ilara's heart sank. Their actions, meant to promote peace, had inadvertently sparked a galactic powder keg. She knew they had to act fast to prevent all-out war. In a bold move, Ilara proposed a joint peacekeeping mission. Humans would work alongside other species to quell the growing conflicts, demonstrating their commitment to galactic stability. The Confederation, seeing no better alternative, reluctantly agreed. And so the Horizon found itself on the front lines once again, this time as part of a diverse fleet of alien ships. Their first mission took them to the Vega system, where two ancient rival species were on the brink of war. The situation was dire, with both sides poised to unleash planet-killing weapons. As they approached the conflict zone, Ilara gathered her crew. "This is our chance to show the galaxy what humanity truly stands for. We're not conquerors or disruptors. We're problem solvers. Let's remind everyone why we came to the stars in the first place." The joint fleet arrived to find a standoff of massive proportions. Planet-killer weapons were primed and ready, with millions of lives hanging in the balance. Ilara knew conventional diplomacy wouldn't work. There wasn't enough time. They needed something dramatic, something uniquely human. That's when Dr. Tanaka approached her with an idea so crazy it just might work. "Captain, what if we could show them the future?" Using a combination of advanced human holographic technology and Luxon's psychic amplification, they created a massive, system-wide projection. It showed the devastating consequences of the impending war: planets reduced to ash, civilizations crumbling, and the winners ultimately losing everything they fought to protect. The impact was immediate and profound. Seeing the future they were about to create, both sides stood down, shocked into peace by the stark reality of their actions. As the crisis was averted, word spread quickly through the galaxy. Humanity had once again demonstrated its unique ability to find unconventional solutions to age-old problems. But with this growing reputation came new challenges. Some species began to see humans as a threat to the established order. Others sought to exploit human ingenuity for their own gains. The Horizon found itself navigating increasingly treacherous political waters. Each mission brought new dangers and moral dilemmas. They prevented a genocide by exposing a corrupt government, redirected a planet-killing asteroid with a hastily assembled gravity drive, and even managed to negotiate peace between organic and synthetic life forms in a distant sector. With each success, humanity's influence grew, as did the fear and admiration they inspired. The galaxy was changing, and humans were at the heart of that change. Months into their peacekeeping mission, the Horizon received an urgent summons back to Earth. As they approached their home planet, they found it surrounded by a massive alien fleet, the largest gathering of diverse species ever seen in the Sol system. Admiral Carter, the head of Earth's Space Command, greeted Ilara as soon as she stepped off the ship. His face was grim. "Captain Chen, your actions out there have put us in a difficult position. Half the galaxy wants to ally with us, the other half wants to wipe us out. The Galactic Confederation is fracturing, and somehow we're at the center of it all." Ilara felt the weight of the situation bearing down on her. "What are our orders, Admiral?" Carter's expression was somber. "The World Council has made a decision. We're mobilizing our fleet, Captain, not for war, but as a show of strength. We need to remind the galaxy that while we come in peace, we're not defenseless." As Ilara watched Earth's fleet assemble, sleek ships bristling with advanced technology that had been developed at an astonishing pace since first contact, she couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. They had come so far, done so much good, but had they pushed too far, too fast? As the combined human fleet prepared to make its statement to the galaxy, Ilara realized they were standing at a crossroads of cosmic proportions. The next few days would determine not just the fate of humanity, but potentially the course of galactic history. And as the Horizon took its place at the head of the fleet, Ilara Chen knew that the true test of humanity's place among the stars was just beginning. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what these unpredictable, ingenious, terrifying humans would do next. The stage was set for a confrontation that would echo across the cosmos for eons to come. The consequences. The assembled human fleet hung in space, a testament to humanity's rapid advancement and newfound position in the galactic community. Captain Ilara Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, which now served as the flagship for this unprecedented show of force. As they prepared to address the gathered alien armadas, a transmission came through from Earth. It was a joint message from the World Council and Admiral Carter. Captain Chen. Admiral Carter's voice was tight with tension. We've received an ultimatum from a coalition of species within the Galactic Confederation. They're demanding that we cease all expansion and technological development, effectively quarantining Earth and its colonies. Ilara's heart sank. This was exactly the scenario they'd hoped to avoid. What are our orders, sir? There was a pause before the Admiral responded. We cannot accept their terms, Captain. The World Council has authorized you to use any means necessary to protect Earth's interests and maintain our independence. But remember, we're not here to start a war. As the transmission ended, Ilara turned to her crew. She could see the mix of determination and fear in their eyes. They had come so far, achieved so much. Now, it seemed, they were facing their greatest challenge yet. Open a channel to all ships, ours and theirs, Ilara commanded. As the communications officer complied, she took a deep breath and began to speak. This is Captain Ilara Chen of the UES Horizon, speaking on behalf of Earth and all human colonies. We come before you today, not as conquerors or threats, but as members of this galactic community. We've made mistakes, yes, but we've also shown our capacity for growth, innovation, and peaceful resolution. She paused, letting her words sink in. We cannot and will not accept any terms that limit our potential or threaten our sovereignty. But neither do we seek conflict. We propose a new path forward, one of collaboration and mutual growth. As Ilara spoke, the tension in space was palpable. Weapons on both sides remained armed, fingers hovering over triggers that could ignite a war that would devastate the galaxy. Suddenly, alarms blared across the horizon's bridge. Captain. Lieutenant Foster called out, his voice urgent. We're detecting massive energy buildups from multiple ships in the alien fleet. They're preparing to fire. Time seemed to slow as Ilara processed the information. In that split second, she had to make a decision that would shape the future of humanity and the galaxy. All ships, activate the Harmony Protocol, she ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos erupting around them. The Harmony Protocol was a closely guarded secret, a technology developed by combining human ingenuity with knowledge gained from their encounters with various alien species. It was untested on this scale, and using it was a massive gamble. As energy beams lanced out from the alien ships, the human fleet shimmered with an otherworldly light. The attacks seemed to pass through them harmlessly, dissipating into space. Then, from the human ships, pulses of energy began to emanate. But these weren't weapons. They were carriers of information, emotion, and understanding. The Harmony Protocol was a revolutionary communication system, capable of transmitting not just words, but experiences and emotions across vast distances. It was humanity's ultimate olive branch, a way to bridge the gap between species in a manner never before possible. As the pulses washed over the alien fleets, something extraordinary happened. The aggressive postures of the ships began to soften, weapons powered down. And then, tentatively at first, responses began to come in. The aliens were experiencing firsthand the human journey, from their first tentative steps into space to their encounters with the Luxon and beyond. They felt the wonder, the fear, the determination, and the hope that drove humanity forward. For hours, this exchange continued. The space around Earth became a nexus of understanding, a place where millennia of conflict and mistrust began to unravel in the face of true communication. As the Harmony Protocol did its work, Ilara and her crew watched in awe. They had taken an impossible situation and turned it into an opportunity for growth and reconciliation. But as the initial euphoria of the moment began to fade, the true consequences of their actions started to become clear. The galactic power structure, which had remained relatively stable for thousands of years, was now irrevocably changed. Humanity, in its refusal to be contained and its radical approach to problem-solving, had upset the delicate balance that had long existed between species. Messages began to pour in from across the galaxy. Some were full of hope and excitement, seeing this as the dawn of a new era of cooperation and advancement. Others were tinged with fear and resentment, viewing humanity's actions as a threat to their way of life. As the alien fleets began to disperse, their aggression replaced by a mix of confusion and cautious optimism, Admiral Carter's voice came through once again. "Captain Chen, I don't know whether to court-martial you or recommend you for every honor we have," he said, his voice a mix of awe and exasperation. "You've changed everything. The World Council is already receiving requests for alliances, technology exchanges, and cultural missions from dozens of species." Ilara nodded, the weight of their actions settling on her shoulders. "Sir, I believe we did what was necessary to secure peace, but I fear we may have opened a Pandora's box." "Indeed we have, Captain," the Admiral replied, "which is why your next mission may be the most important yet. The Council wants the Horizon to embark on a galaxy-wide diplomatic tour. We need to solidify these new alliances and manage the fallout from today's events." As the communication ended, Ilara turned to her crew. She could see the mix of pride and apprehension on their faces. They had achieved the impossible, averting a war and opening up new avenues of cooperation. But they had also fundamentally altered the course of galactic history. "Well done, everyone," she said, her voice filled with pride. "But our work is far from over. In fact, it's only just beginning." As the Horizon prepared for its new mission, Ilara couldn't help but wonder about the long-term consequences of their actions. They had saved Earth and potentially ushered in a new era of peace and cooperation. But they had also demonstrated the full extent of human capability to the galaxy at large. The question now was, how would the galaxy adapt to the presence of a species that could so radically alter the status quo? And more importantly, how would humanity handle the responsibility that came with their newfound position of influence? As the Earth grew smaller in the view screen, Ilara knew that the answers to these questions would shape the future of not just humanity, but of all sentient life in the galaxy. The consequences of their actions would echo through the cosmos for generations to come. The Judgment. 5 years had passed since the events that had reshaped the galactic landscape. The UEA's Horizon, under the command of now Admiral Ilara Chen, had become a symbol of diplomacy and innovation across the stars. But as Ilara stood before the newly formed Galactic Council, she knew that humanity's journey was far from over. The chamber was filled with representatives from hundreds of species, some allies, others still wary of human influence. The air was thick with tension as Ilara prepared to present humanity's case in what had become known as the Terran hearing. "Esteemed members of the Council," Ilara began, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "We stand before you today, not just as representatives of Earth, but as members of this diverse galactic community. 5 years ago, we faced a crisis that threatened to tear our universe apart. Today, we face a different kind of challenge: how to move forward together in this new era we've collectively created." As Ilara spoke, holographic displays flickered to life around the chamber, showcasing the collaborative projects that had sprung up in the wake of the Harmony Protocol. There were joint scientific ventures that had led to breakthroughs in medicine and technology, cultural exchange programs that had fostered understanding between once hostile species, and peacekeeping missions that had resolved conflicts thought to be eternal. But not all the images were positive. There were also displays showing the disruption caused by the rapid spread of human influence. Societies that had remained unchanged for millennia were now grappling with new ideas and technologies. Some flourished in this new environment, while others struggled to adapt. We recognize that our presence has been a catalyst for change, Ilara continued. Change that has brought both opportunities and challenges. We've seen incredible advancements, but also experienced growing pains as we all adjust to this new galactic order. The Zkrath representative, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline structure, pulsed with a mix of colors that indicated agitation. The humans speak of progress, but at what cost? Their influence spreads like a virus, altering the very fabric of our societies. How can we trust a species that has caused so much upheaval in such a short time? Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Ilara had anticipated this reaction. It was time for their final gamut. "Honored Council," she said, her voice cutting through the noise. "We understand your concerns, which is why we come before you today with a proposal. We call it the Galactic Integration Initiative." The chamber fell silent as Ilara outlined the plan. It was audacious, perhaps even revolutionary. Humanity proposed to open all of its technology, knowledge, and resources to the galactic community. In return, they asked for the same from other species. It was a plan for true integration, for the creation of a galactic society where knowledge and resources flowed freely between all sentient beings. "We're not asking you to simply trust us," Ilara explained. "We're offering to trust you. All of you. We believe that only by working together, by sharing our strengths and helping each other overcome our weaknesses, can we face the challenges that lie ahead." The council chamber erupted into chaos. Some representatives cheered the proposal, seeing it as a path to unprecedented advancement. Others protested vehemently, viewing it as a threat to their autonomy and way of life. As the debate raged, a new voice cut through the din. It was the Luxen representative, the ethereal being's form shimmering with an inner light. "We were the first to encounter the humans," the Luxen said, its thoughts resonating in the minds of all present. "We saw their potential for destruction, but also their capacity for growth and understanding. They have proven themselves to be not just powerful, but wise in their use of that power. Perhaps it is time we all learn to trust as they do." The Luxen's words seemed to calm the storm of emotions in the chamber. One by one, other representatives began to voice their support for the initiative. Even those who had been most vehemently opposed began to see the potential benefits of such open cooperation. As the final votes were tallied, Ilara held her breath. The future of humanity and the galaxy hung in the balance. When the results were announced, she could hardly believe it. The Galactic Integration Initiative had passed, albeit by a narrow margin. In that moment, Ilara knew that the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had not just secured its place among the stars, it had helped usher in a new age of cooperation and advancement. As the council session ended, Ilara was approached by the Arcturian delegate, the same being who had expressed concerns about humanity years ago. "You've proven us wrong, Admiral Chen," the Arcturian said, its tentacles waving in what Ilara had learned was a sign of respect. "We feared your unpredictability, but it is that very quality that has opened up possibilities we never imagined. The road ahead will not be easy, but for the first time in eons, I find myself looking to the future with hope." Ilara nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "Thank you, Delegate. We all have a lot of work ahead of us, but I believe that together we can build a future brighter than any of us could have imagined alone." As she made her way back to the horizon, Ilara reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. From that first misunderstanding with the Luxen to the brink of galactic war, and now to the dawn of a new era of cooperation. Humanity had faced judgment and emerged not as conquerors, but as catalysts for positive change. The horizon's engines hummed to life, ready to embark on its next mission. But this time, it wouldn't be alone. Ships from a dozen different species were joining them, the first joint expedition under the new Galactic Integration Initiative. As the fleet prepared to jump to hyperspace, Ilara gave the order to depart. She couldn't help but smile as she looked out at the stars. They had started this journey seeking to find humanity's place in the universe. Instead, they had helped reshape the universe itself. The reason humans were never allowed to fight in galactic wars again was simple. They had found a better way. A way to turn conflict into cooperation, fear into understanding, and isolation into integration. As the horizon leaped into hyperspace, Ilara knew that the greatest adventures, for humanity and for the galaxy, were still to come. The end of this chapter was just the beginning of a grand cosmic story, one in which humanity would play a central role not as conquerors or defenders, but as innovators, peacekeepers, and bridge builders in a vast and ever-expanding universe.